Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a video on the biggest success of the strongest female player in the world, Hou Yifan from China. Following in the footsteps of the great Judit Polgar, her predecessor. Hou Yifan won in August 2017 the yearly tournament of Biel ahead of 9 male players. She scored 6.5 points out of 9 games, won 5 games and had an incredible tournament performance rating of 28-10, and every elite male grandmaster would be proud of that one. It's a far cry from what happened 6 months ago when Hou Yifan threw away a game because she felt she had been paired against too many women, and you can see that in video number 135 on the Chess to Impress channel. But none of that was happening in Biel in Switzerland. Hou Yifan played great, 2800 plus tournament performance rating and winning the tournament. I'll show you the last round game that Hou Yifan needed to win the tournament. She was white against Nico Georgiadis from Switzerland. Let's have a look at the game. Played on the 2nd of August 2017. Hou Yifan opened e4 and Georgiadis answered with c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, and here Hou Yifan played a favorite of hers, queen takes d4, while knight takes d4 is a more common move. It doesn't promise white much, this variation, but it's playable of course for white. Knight c6 attacking the queen, and now you can retreat the queen, but Hou Yifan played bishop b5, protecting her queen that way because the knight on c6 is pinned. Here the most common way to reply is bishop d7 on pinning the knight, so now the queen is hanging. And then bishop takes c6, bishop takes e6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, e6, white can castle queenside, and bishop e7, and we have a different game. Just to show you this variation. Back to bishop b5, and instead of bishop d7, Georgiadis played a6. Hou Yifan took, b takes e6, and white castled. e5 from Georgiadis, hitting the queen, queen went back to d3, knight f6, rook d1, queen c7, bishop g5, knight to d7, knight a3, knight c5, forcing the queen back again, queen e2, you need to keep the e4 pawn protected, h6, bishop back to d2, and a5, knight c4, bringing the knight into the game, bishop e7, bishop e3, and now you cannot take that pawn on e4. Let's have a look. If you take on e4, then there is bishop b6, hitting the queen, queen goes to b7, and then you can take that knight. It looks like black can win a piece back with the d5 move, forking queen and knight, but then white can just take on e5, because d takes c4 would be a big blunder because of checkmate on the spot. Rook d8 is checkmate. So back to the position from the game, bishop e3. So we just saw that knight takes e4 is not a good move. That's a poisoned pawn. Knight e6 would be a very solid move here. But Georgiadis played bishop a6. Hou Yifan decided to break up black's pawn structure. She took on c5, giving up the bishop pair but scattering black's pawns. D takes c5, and in this position Hou Yifan correctly judged that her knights are better than black's bishops, and that's why she's going for the exchange of rooks. She played rook d2, black castled, rook ad1, rook fd8, and all 4 rooks get traded. Rook takes d8 check, rook takes check, and bishop takes d8. a4 from Hou Yifan, fixing pawn a5 as a permanent weakness there, always attacked by the knight on c4. Queen b8 from Judit. He now threatens to take on c4, and after white takes back, then b2 is hanging. So Hou Yifan played b3, and now a very hard to understand move from Judit. He can play f6 here. White is then a bit better, but has a long technical task ahead. Also bishop f6 is a good move, but he played queen b4 here, and it's hard to understand what he was thinking. Just giving up the e5 pawn, which Hou Yifan took. Bishop f6, I'm sure he had seen that. He probably was trying to get counterplay with his bishop pair, but it doesn't work out. The knight went back to f3. Let's have a quick look why taking on c6 was not a good move. Because then black takes on c4, and if you take with the queen, then there is queen e1 check. You have to interpose your own queen, and queen takes e4 wins a important pawn back. So after bishop takes e4, you have to take with the b pawn, and then queen takes a4. And this position is actually better for black. The knight on c6 is in trouble, the bishop is very strong, and black has that passed a pawn. He is a pawn down, but his compensation is tremendous. So Hou Yifan did not take on c6, she played the knight back to f3. Bishop d4, queen d3, king f8, king f1. Black saw nothing better than taking on c4, queen takes, b takes c4, and bishop b2. He probably had hoped that he would have chances to survive in this ending, but things will go very quickly now. He could have tried bishop f6 instead to support his weak pawns on the queen side from the back. For example, knight d2, bishop d8, knight b3, and bishop b6. And not only is white a pawn up, his knight is a lot stronger than a very passive bishop. After bishop b2, Hou Yifan played knight d2. She's going to eye up the weak black pawns on the queen side, and probably rather surprisingly, here Judit already resigned. He had gone into this endgame voluntarily. He took on c4, swapped everything on c4, and then played bishop b2, and after knight d2 he resigned. Not a very inspirational game from Nico Judit, but it was an important tournament for him because he gained the Grandmaster title in this tournament. Why did he resign so early? Well, let's have a look. It was not really too early. Black is in big trouble here. He can play bishop c3, then knight b3 attacking both the a5 and the c5 pawns. You can still protect him with bishop b4, but then there comes the king, king e2, king e7, king d3, king d6, and then simply c2, c3, kicking the bishop, and white will win a second pawn. The fifth win of Hou Yifan in this tournament, and here we see her as the happy winner. On the left is Etienne Bacrot, the French Grandmaster who ended in second place, and on the right Pentala Harikrishna, the Indian Grandmaster who became third. Hou Yifan is not as great as Judit Polgar yet, who made it to the top 10 in the world. Hou Yifan is now on number 72, but she's making progress, she's still improving, and this was the biggest win of her career. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel. Please leave a comment, and if you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box, as well as the link to the other videos on Hou Yifan I've made for Chess to Impress. This is Rick. Thank you very much for watching.